In 1968, during the Vietnam War, two American soldiers are trapped in a jungle during a storm. Their leader uses the radio to call for help and explains that they've lost the rest of their team. Suddenly, the other soldier screams as he vanishes into the trees, and the leader opens fire, but he doesn't hit anything. Terrified, he starts running through the jungle, noticing something moving in the bushes. At that moment, a dinosaur jumps out and kills him. The next morning, in an American camp, a Vietnamese woman tries to tell the soldiers that a feathered demon took her husband, but they don't believe her. A truck carrying mysterious containers has been captured, and a quick scan detects dangerous levels of radiation. As a few bombs go off nearby, a soldier calls Colonel Jericho to inform him about the truck and the team that went missing last night. Jericho decides to send the Vulture Squad on a rescue mission. Meanwhile, the Vulture Squad is sneaking into an enemy camp. They silently take down two guards from behind, and their snipers shoot the man on the watchtower from afar. Now they can move forward to attack the camp by surprise. The team opens fire as they sweep through the site, killing every enemy who dares to get close. With the snipers providing cover, it doesn't take long for the squad to clear the area. Afterward, they check the prisoners and find 3 fellow Americans already dead and 2 survivors locked inside a cage. Suddenly, an enemy soldier comes out of hiding to attack, but a sergeant quickly kills him with a machete. Soon, helicopters arrive to pick them up, and the Vulture Squad is informed that they've already been chosen for another mission. Moments later, the Vulture Squad is dropped at a camp where the Americans are keeping a tiger in a cage. Jericho tells them about the missing team and the strange rumors coming from the valley. He wants them to do reconnaissance and find the missing men so helicopters can come in for extraction. When the team asks for more details, they're told it's classified. In private, Jericho asks Vulture leader Baker to keep his men under control. If all goes well, Jericho promises to erase some old allegations from Baker's record. In the main tent, Keyes tries to talk to Stovall about his PTSD. He sometimes gets too loud during missions, and one day that might get him killed. Keyes makes him promise that he'll get help soon. That evening, the Vulture Squad flies out for their next mission. Suddenly, the helicopter's system starts beeping, and the pilot says the weapons are malfunctioning, but at least they're still flying straight. The group is dropped near the jungle and immediately notices a game trail among the trees. They're confused because the tracks look larger than an elephant's. As they search the area, they find bird footprints that are far too big to belong to any known species. Nearby, they discover enormous feathers that match the size of the tracks. Eventually, they find a backpack with a map marking Research Station 4 and a notebook that says, "We are being hunted." The backpack is surrounded by spent shell casings and 2 different kinds of footprints. They decide to follow the trail. The squad moves deeper into the jungle, noticing something rustling in the bushes and making strange noises. Suddenly, something grabs Baker's leg and drags him across the ground. Baker fires rapidly until the creature drops him and runs off. The team rushes to help, patching up his wounds before moving on. Meanwhile, a Russian squad known as the Dogs of War is also in the jungle searching for the Americans. They've kidnapped a man named Conan to act as their guide. When they find some warm shell casings on the ground, they realize the Americans must be close. They also hear eerie noises as they move forward, then, out of nowhere, a dinosaur lunges from the bush and bites the last soldier in line. When the others find the body with its organs torn out, they assume the Americans did it. Back with the vultures, the soldiers keep moving while debating whether monsters could actually exist. In the jungle, when they find a huge claw on the ground, some suggest going back and pretending they didn't see anything. However, Baker spots part of a soldier's uniform and insists they press on. They enter a cave and are horrified to find the shredded remains of the missing team. Something stirs in the shadows. Suddenly, a pack of feathered dinosaurs bursts out, forcing the soldiers to dive for cover and open fire. Chaos erupts as bullets fly. Vultures kill several dinosaurs, but the beasts keep coming. Amid the confusion, Baker and Vern slip into a narrow tunnel and accidentally separate from the rest of the team. They follow the passage until it leads outside, but the noises around them reveal there are more creatures nearby. They begin climbing vines to escape. A dinosaur finds them and tries to grab Baker, but he shoots it down. The gunfire attracts even more dinosaurs, but they can't jump high enough to reach them. Baker and Vern climb to the top of the cave while the rest of the squad manages to escape as well. Hearing movement in the bush, the team prepares to fire, but they freeze when a massive dinosaur slowly walks past. Elsewhere, Baker and Vern follow a trail and discover a clearing where a gigantic dinosaur sleeps among the skeletons of its prey. Suddenly, 3 baby dinosaurs emerge and chirp at them, waking their parent. Baker and Vern run for their lives, shooting back to slow it down. They hide in the bushes, but the creature quickly finds them. The next morning, the remaining vultures cross a river to rest. They worry about Baker and Vern, but refuse to return to the cave. It's too dangerous. Meanwhile, Baker and Vern are still being chased through the valley. After a long sprint, they hide behind a fallen tree, and Baker throws a grenade to distract the beast. Then they keep running until they reach a cliff's edge and leap into the river below. The dinosaur falls in too. Baker drags the unconscious Vern to the shore as the creature swims away. At that moment, they're approached by a woman named Sophia, who helps Baker move Vern and wake him. She tells them their teammates are probably dead and invites them to her lab. Both groups continue moving through the jungle, encountering dinosaurs of every color and size. They sneak around to avoid detection. Eventually, Keyes' group walks alongside peaceful herbivores. Sophia leads Baker and Vern to Research Station 4, where she's lived for over a year. She once had a team of scientists, but she's now the only survivor. She locks the steel-reinforced door behind them, explaining that the building is completely secure. Sophia injects herself with something, alarming the soldiers. As Vern tries to use the radio, she explains that a Russian general named Borden killed everyone who knew about this place. Since then, she's been surviving alone. Apparently, Borden has been building a collider. When Vern finally reaches the camp, Baker takes over the call and tells Jericho everything Sophia said. He even mentions the dinosaurs and demands rescue for his team, threatening to go public if Jericho doesn't cooperate. Jericho doubts the dinosaur story but orders his men to investigate Borden's name. When he remembers a giant fang the troops found in the jungle, he starts to reconsider. The trio leaves the building, hoping to reunite with the rest of the squad. Meanwhile, the vultures are crossing an open field when gunfire suddenly erupts, wounding Keyes in the leg. The dogs have found them, forcing a firefight. Sophia and the others hear the gunshots and rush toward the sound. Both sides trade shots. From cover without gaining ground. Suddenly, the battle is interrupted as enormous flying dinosaurs swoop down. The soldiers turn their guns on the creatures instead, scrambling for cover. One dinosaur impales a Russian soldier with its beak and begins eating him alive. The others use the distraction to retreat. The vultures carry Keyes into the jungle, while the remaining Russians open fire to hold off the beasts before regrouping with Conan. Once safe, the vultures bandage Keyes' wound. Just then, Baker's group finds them. The soldiers are wary of Sophia because she's Russian. Suddenly, small dinosaurs rush from the bush, circling them and climbing trees to attack. The soldiers unleash a barrage of bullets, killing several, but more keep coming. In the chaos, one creature sneaks behind them and drags Keyes away. Keyes fights back with a branch, but a dinosaur leaps on him from above. He throws it off and prepares to fight, only for the smaller beasts to scatter. He barely has time to breathe before a massive predator knocks him down. The monster crushes him repeatedly, leaving him gravely injured. Hearing his friends nearby, Keyes musters his strength to stab the creature in the neck. As it roars in pain, the others arrive and open fire, driving it off. They rush to Keyes' side to tend to his wounds. Sophia suggests leaving him behind, but Baker refuses. That evening, they reach her facility, placing Keyes on a table and injecting him with painkillers. Baker follows Sophia when she slips away and catches her injecting herself. She's addicted. Sophia admits the dinosaurs were an accident. Her husband was a nuclear researcher and she was a paleontologist. The Russian army sent them into the jungle to experiment with a collider that could create a wormhole to invade the US, but Borden cut corners. The collider malfunctioned and opened a portal to the past, unleashing dinosaurs into the present. The soldiers later killed the entire research team, everyone except Sophia, who was away at the time. Borden abandoned the lab and began building another collider in the mountains. Later that night, a dinosaur appears near the building. The soldiers decide not to shoot, but when it breaks through a window, they're forced to fire at its head. The noise attracts even more creatures. The vultures take positions at the windows, firing non-stop for several minutes until the beasts retreat. When pounding starts at the door, they shoot again, but the dinosaur moves to the window. Focusing their fire, there leaves an opening for another beast to smash through the door. The vultures push it back and barricade the entrance, but a third dinosaur climbs onto the glass roof and shatters it. Overwhelmed, Sophia tells them about a back door leading to the docks. Keyes knows he won't survive, so he insists they leave him behind. Stovall shares one last cigarette with him before escaping. When the dinosaurs burst inside, Keyes pulls the pins on 2 grenades. At the docks, the others watch the explosion and mourn their friend before boarding a boat. The next morning, as they travel upriver, Baker tells the team about the second collider and they agree to destroy it. Sophia tries to warn them, but collapses from withdrawal. When she wakes, she explains they can't bomb the collider, it would destroy the world. They must shut it down manually. The group admires nearby dinosaurs as Sophia secretly tries to grab another injection. The soldiers stop her, but the syringe falls into the river, where a dinosaur snatches it mid-jump. Baker scolds Sophia and gives her cigarettes to help cope. Stovall watches an aquatic dinosaur eat smaller ones on the shore, but is stopped from shooting it. Later, feeling hopeless, Stovall nearly takes his own life, but Baker stops him just in time, reminding him they still need him. After hours of sailing, they reach a foggy area. As soon as they land, they find piles of human corpses. Moving cautiously through the mist, they're ambushed by small dinosaurs. Chaos erupts as they fight with guns, knives, and bare hands. Seeing his friends injured, Stovall snaps. He screams and charges the beasts, drawing them toward the river. When he runs out of bullets, he laughs, hearing Keyes' voice in his head. He uses his final bullet to end his life, and the dinosaurs feast on his body. That night, the remaining team reaches the Russian base. Baker calls Jericho to report the location. Jericho says it's a national security site and orders them not to interfere. Baker pretends they're static, acting as if he heard permission to proceed, and requests rescue choppers. The vultures devise a plan and move in. They silently eliminate guards, cutting throats and taking down watchmen. As the vultures advance, Sophia and Baker sneak toward the main building. They spot the surviving dogs, Conan and her team furious at Borden for letting dinosaurs overrun their homeland. Tensions rise, and the dogs nearly open fire on Borden before other soldiers intervene. Meanwhile, the vultures plant explosives around the camp. Sophia and Baker knock out 2 guards and free the dogs, who agree to help after hearing their plan. Moments later, a baby dinosaur wanders in, and soldiers shoot it dead. Borden yells at them just as the parents arrive, roaring in fury. The massive dinosaurs storm the base, crushing vehicles, flinging bodies, and devouring anyone in sight. Panic spreads as soldiers flee. The monsters rip through everything, tossing men like toys. Borden runs to hide inside a building while Baker's group fights through the chaos to follow. Amid the destruction, Conan spots Vulture member Miller, the man who killed her family. She attacks him and they brawl under a vehicle as dinosaurs rampage nearby. Miller pushes her off and tries to flee, but Conan tackles him again and stabs him. Regretful, Miller activates the bombs, triggering a massive explosion that kills them both and scares the dinosaurs away. Inside the building, Baker's team reaches the lab and kills a scientist who resists. Sophia starts working on deactivating the collider. Moments later, the rest of the vultures regroup, but Borden appears with a gun. Baker shoots first, killing him. Sophia spits on his body, refusing to finish him off because she wants to be the bigger person. She cuts a power cable, plunging the building into darkness. The emergency generator kicks in and Borden's body is gone. Suddenly, more dinosaurs swarm the base, feeding on corpses and blocking the escape tunnel. The vultures toss smoke grenades and open fire, but there are too many. The beasts burst into the lab, destroying everything. One of the dogs is killed instantly. Borden tries to use the control panel but is devoured. The others plant explosives and run. One vulture stays behind to hold off the creatures dying in the explosion. Sophia leads the survivors through a back door as more dinosaurs close in. A soldier is caught and eaten alive. The others have no choice but to keep running. They find a ladder and Baker orders them up while he stays behind to cover them. He throws grenades as the beasts attack, but they overpower and kill him. The survivors climb out, pursued by the monsters, but make it outside just in time. Jericho is waiting with helicopters and reinforcements. As the dinosaurs charge, the troops unleash heavy fire from both ground and air. Choppers blast the flying creatures as soldiers fight below. Many are killed, but the vultures hold out long enough to trigger their explosives, collapsing the base. Everyone runs to the helicopters and escapes. During the flight, Jericho scolds the team for destroying the collider instead of securing. If for the US, Sophia tells him it's too late. Destroying the collider has already caused dinosaurs to appear outside the jungle, which could doom the entire world. Thanks for watching.